Hello everyone, today we're going to be recording a video where we talk about how you can remove network drive mappings from your end user computing environment. The audience for this video is administrators or EUC admins, consultants, architects, that sort of thing, so it's pretty much an advanced level video. It's also intended to be an addendum to an article I recently wrote, which is linked in the description of this video, telling you how to get rid of network drive mappings and giving you some options around that. So if you're watching this video, then all of the reference is in the article that's linked in the description. So one thing I'm not going to do is launch into a long tirade about why network drive mappings are bad. You can read all of that in the article. But essentially, they're very much a hangover from the past and they are just shortcuts. So why can't we just replace them with shortcuts? Let's go over here where I have already handily logged on to a Windows 10 machine. If we run File Explorer, I'll show you where a network drive would normally appear. So you've got a couple of views in File Explorer, you've got quick access and you've got this PC. This PC shows you can see here, the local drives attached to your machine. However, if you then go in and map a network drive, which you can do in loads of different ways, you can do it through logon scripts, through group policy, lots and lots of different ways to do it. Just close that out. You will see now in this PC view, it now has a network location, a network drive mapped to a letter there, so you can access all of the data on that share. Now, what I'm going to show you is that when you open an application, the reason users get so wedded to network drives is because when you go to the open or save as dialog boxes in an application, just use Notepad as an example here, if you look into this PC view, you can scroll down and see that network drive showing there. So that's why users like to see them in there. They get used to that and it becomes part of their processes. So what I'm going to show you is, you've got two views here. You've got the folders view and the network locations view. I'm going to give you a couple of options like specified in the article. I'm going to show you how to put a shortcut to a UNC path to replace a drive mapping into the folders view and a way to put it into the network locations view as well. There are in the article discussions about which bits of these are better. For instance, in the folders view you can use a custom icon, things like that. There are advantages and disadvantages to both. Again, read the article for those. So let's just disconnect that network drive and log off this machine, and we can get down to the business of showing you how to get it done. So let's get started. Firstly, we're going to show you how to add this UNC shortcut that replaces your drive mapping into the folders view. So what we need to do with this is we need to get a reference machine, which can be, you also need to get your password right, which will always be a good start, which, it can be, it could be any version of Windows really. Essentially it doesn't matter, just whatever you are going to be running this on. The principle should work the same for modern Windows operating systems, so let's get logged on. Now, you need to know a few things before you start. You obviously need to know the UNC path where you want to send your shortcut. You need to know the name you want to give the folder when it appears in that folders view. There's also, you need to know a description, because when you mouse hover over it, it pops up a little tooltip window that gives you a hint, so you need a description for that. You also need an icon for the folder. You can use your own icon if you have one, or you can use one of the built-in Windows ones as well. If you do use your own icon, you need to make sure it's present on the machine before you start this. Now, if you refer back to my article, we're going to do all of this via PowerShell. So what I am doing right now is I am copying the PowerShell that is used for this from my article. So let's just copy that, move across to here. If we just run Notepad will do as my PowerShell editor of choice for the moment, and just paste all of that in there. There are some things commented out in this article, in this PowerShell script. They're discussed in the article. Not going to do it here. But right at the top we have the editable stuff, right? So folder name, let's just say this is my network drive replacement. The location, we're going to use the same path we used before to map to, just for our testing. Folder hints, yeah, put that in there. Just type that in. And for the folder icon, if you had your own icon, you would put the path to the icon file in there. Now, You can use one of the built-in Windows libraries like shell32.dll. I've got reference here. If it is one of these libraries that has many icons in it, you need to give the right icon number. There are some ways in the article about how to find that out. We're going to give ourselves a surprise icon just by typing one in at random, number 15. You then need to save this. So I save it onto my desktop here. Let's call it folders.ps1. Pop that in there. Should now say that's appearing on the desktop, right? So we're all ready to go on this reference machine. So if we actually run Windows PowerShell and I type in the path to where it is, and if I just run folders.ps1, it's going through there, making all the registry changes, and then it's restarting Explorer, right? So that bit's done. So now if we open up File Explorer again, we should see, if we switch to this PC view, so there you go. The icon we've picked is actually the My Computer one, so that wasn't a great choice, but just to show you how it can be done, there you go. It's shown in there. This is my network drive replacement, and that takes it straight through into there, right? So what we've done is, on this reference machine, we have basically imported into the registry all of the settings to make that appear in that folders view. However, if we then want to deploy them to lots of other machines, we've now got to export them back out. So first thing we need to do is run registry editor, right? So let's just run registry editor. Now, I told you that that script generates a GUID for you, a random GUID. So now we have to find that GUID. So best thing to do, if we edit this file here, which is going to open in PowerShell Ice now, rather than a notepad. And if you get the folder hint, or even the folder name, if you copy that, and then switch back to registry editor and do a wrong menu, find, if you paste that in there and choose that bit that says match whole string only, and that should tell us what the GUID is. So just give it a moment so it can find that, and there it is. So if we expand that out there, we can see our GUID. If we copy that key name and run notepad again, paste that in there, we've now got that GUID right there. So we know the GUID to work with. Now, if you reference back to my article, there are 3 keys you need to export. The first one is, so let's go right back to the top here, is HK current user, software, classes, CLSID is the bit that we want, and under there should be a GUID. There's only the one, which is fortunate. So if you right click on this and choose export, we shall put this in a remote file share because we need to be able to fetch it from there to do the next stage. I think we have a temp directory in there. Let's just bung it in there, and let's call this 001. Set that there. Right, next we want is HK current user, software, classes, and there should be under classes. You know what, why don't I just use the bar here, which is always much easier, wow 6432 node, and under there should be a CLSID entry as well, and there's also the GUID there as well. So right click on that, choose export, let's call that 002. And finally we need to go into HK current user, software, Microsoft, Windows, current version, Explorer, My Computer, namespace, and there is our GUID again. Let's export that one out and call it 003. So there you go. We've done all of those registry changes. Now we've exported them out. Now let's just close that down. There is a great tool that I always use to make these changes so that I can use them in group policy preferences. Now, if you're going to deploy these registry changes through something other than group policy preferences, then you can simply take those exported reg files and deal with them any way you want. The reason I'm showing you how to do it in group policy preferences is because generally everybody's got access to group policy preferences. So if we go to this linked in the article, there is a link to this website here. So if I just open that up and drag it across into this window so that you can see it. This is a very old looking website called Runecasters IT Solutions, but it has a utility on it called reg2gpp. And if you click on choose file here, and then if I browse to that folder that I had there, and if we pop in 001.reg and click the upload button there, what that will do is that will take our file and it will output us an XML file that we can import straight into group policy preferences, which is great. So if we set that, the options here, we're going to set it to replace, we're going to set it to run in logged on user security context, we're going to do convert and download XML. You can see it's downloaded the XML file there. So let's then go back to here, let's choose file again, let's add number 2 in there, choose upload, again choose it to replace, run in logged on user security context, do the convert and download XML again, you can see that's done down the bottom, and the final one, let's go to choose file, 003, upload, set our options for the third time, convert and download XML. Down at the bottom we now have the 3 XML files there ready. So now what we need to do, now let's bear in mind this machine here that we did on the reference machine was DT002. We have another machine here we're going to deploy the changes to called DT003. What we need to do now is flip over to a domain controller and open up a group policy object. This is the OU that those machines are in, this one here called single user. So let's create a GP on this domain here and let's call this insert folder UNC shortcut, you can call it whatever you want. Click on OK there. Now this one is linked here, so let's right click this and choose edit. Now this is the really cool bit, I really love this. Now let's just make sure that those XML files that I generated are in my downloads folder, and let's chuck them where we can access them from that machine. So there they are, 1, 2, 3, let's cut them out of there. Let's go back to that temp directory and just bung them in there. There you go. So now back at my domain controller, I should be able to access that folder. This is the cool bit. I can literally just right click on that and choose copy. Now if I go into user config, sorry, not policies but preferences, into Windows settings, into registry, and then I just right click there and choose paste and then click on yes, and that collection has been added right in there. But what you have to do is remember, go back up one level to the registry node at the top and then simply right click the second one and choose copy, and then right click in here and choose paste, click on yes again, then flip back up to the next one, right click your file, XML file, choose copy, paste it in there, click yes again, and there you go. You now have these things called 1, 2 and 3. It might make sense to rename them, I guess, but it doesn't really matter if you don't want to. And if you drill down through these, you will see that down at the bottom here it has all of the relevant actions filling in all of those bits, right? If you wanted to do some item level targeting on this level, so if you wanted to just apply these settings to certain bunches of users, you can right click on the top and choose properties and click on that says item level targeting and choose an item level target from there. What you could also do if you wanted to target it out is, if you go back to the shortcut here, you could change the security filtering to just apply to specific users. Don't forget to add domain computers on there as well. We're going to apply it so it'll apply to all the users on the machine, but you can filter it quite easily if you want to. So we now have this secondary machine over here called DT003. So if my group policy has refreshed properly, which I'm hoping it has, when I log on here now, so don't forget it was number 2, the machine we made the changes on. If I log on here now and actually manage to get my password correct, we should hopefully see that it's got that icon in the folders view already done. It's already in there for us. Let's just log on and see if it is in there. Okie doke. So all of those registry settings should have been pushed down to this machine. I'm going to File Explorer and click on this PC. There you go. This is my network drive replacement. There it is in there. It's got the same place as we had that Z drive before. And if we also look at Notepad, for instance, if we go to File and Open, and click on this PC, scroll down to the folders view, you can see we can get in through there as well. So that's the first way to replace it. That's how to pop it into the folders view. Now the next part that we're going to record, hopefully before it gets too dark here, is to show you how to pop that UNC shortcut to replace your drive mapping into the network locations view. So where a drive mapping would traditionally have been found. As I said before, read the article to see the differences between the two. Now for this method, you only need to know two things before you start. You need to know the name you want to appear on your shortcut, so whatever you want to call it, and you need to also know the path you want it to go to. Again, the beauty of this bit is we don't need a reference machine, we don't need any PowerShell. You can do all of this through Group Policy Preferences or CitrixWM or you've had a UWM or whatever tool it is you use. So let's just hop straight across here onto our Group Policy Management console. Let's right click our OU, create a new GPO, and let's call it Create Network Location UNC Shortcut. That will do. Go on that, right click it, choose edit, and let's get started. So the first thing we need to create, we need to go into user configuration, into preferences, into Windows settings, and into folders. If we right click, choose new folder, you'll get this window here. The action we need is update the path, which I'm going to cut and paste from my article to save me time doing all that typing, is that, and then obviously add on the end the name you want to give it. So let's call it My Network Drive. It's very important that you set the read-only attribute here. That is absolutely vitally important that you get this right. So click on OK that, and that's what it should look like in there. The next part, we need to go to the ini files section underneath folders in the same place. We need to create two ini files actions in here, which are separate actions applying to the same file. So if you go to new ini file, again, action update. Now, like an absolute idiot, I have changed the name that I used, so I'll have to cut and paste that. Give me 2 seconds. Go back to my folders. Let's just, what we called it, My Network Drive. Okay, let's try that again. New ini file, update. Let's paste that in there, and we'll have to change this bit here to My Network Drive. There you go. So that full path in there with desktop ini on the end. Now the section name needs to be, if I just copy and paste that, needs to be this, .shellclassinfo. The property name needs to be SailSid2, and the property value, which is a GUID that you can grab from the article, bang that in there like that. Okay, that's the first of the ini files set up. Then we need to do the same again, so another ini files action. Again, action update. Path pointing to the ini file again, and obviously if you're an idiot like me, you just need to change that to My Network Drive. In there, section name is again .shellclassinfo, which I can just copy and paste from there. Property name is flags, and the property value is 2. Right, so make sure you've got all that done correctly as well. Finally, what you need to do is create a shortcut. So down here, go to Shortcuts, create new shortcut. Again, action update. Now this time we have a path that ends in target, but again, I'm going to have to change that to My Network Drive, which I did in there. Target type is file system object. The location should say specify full path, and the target path should be the UNC path that you want it to go to. Right, so you've got all those in there. You can repeat all these as many times as you want for each mapping, so you can copy these and paste them and just change the name and the path. Just be careful not to duplicate them. Again, you can do each of these things individually. You can apply an item level targeting to it by using that, right, if you wanted to, or you can do what we've done as well, go back here and change the security filtering there as well. So again, and because I've had to type some of this in manually, I'm a little bit apprehensive about logging on here in case I ruin my video, but let's give it a go anyway. Let's log on and see if that appears in my network shortcuts. So I've unapplied the last GPP that we applied, so that won't apply to this one anymore. So hopefully this new one should now take effect, and it should pop the path to that into my File Explorer window. So let's just wait for it to get logged on and see what we shall see. Wait for the moment of truth. So let's go into File Explorer, wait for it to open up, and click on this PC, and now we have my network drive down there that points to the same place through there. So that's all very good through that. That's great. It has worked. If we go into Notepad as well, just to quickly check, File, Open, and click on this PC and have a look down. There's my network drive down there as well. So that's it. It's done. That's absolutely excellent. We're very, very pleased with that. Again, for the full rundown of all this stuff, please go and read the article. This is just to show you very quickly how to do it, but I hope that's been useful for you and that you can get away from drive mappings, because honestly, read the article, I hate drive mappings. They're so troublesome, they're so archaic, they're so outdated. Use these techniques to get rid of them and change the way your users work. Thank you very much.